Hey there! Welcome to the Ultimate Battle for Dream Island recap. In case you're unaware, I will be recapping the entirety of BFDI, including Battle for Dream Island again and IDFB. We have no time to waste, so we better start from the beginning. Get ready! Battle for Dream Island was a webtoon created by Michael and Carrie Huang. It premiered on January 1st, 2010, and became the pioneer of the object show community that we know and love today. Before BFDI, however, was a bunch of comic strips written all the way back from mid-2008 to late 2009 that include our main cast, as well as these characters that are based on mathematical symbols that will later be called as algebrailians. But these comics are considered non-canon, meaning that they are not exactly a part of the central timeline. Most of these comics have Fiery in the title because they mainly featured the titular character. Total Fiery Island would be the actual predecessor to BFDI that would establish the character interactions we would see in the current show. This series is inspired by Total Drama Island.
But Total Drama Island itself is an animated spin-off of the show Survivor. I mean, if you watch Total Drama and you see Chris McLean, they are almost an exact caricature of the host of Survivor. And going further, depending on the definition of spin-off, it could be argued that the famous 2000 American version of Survivor is itself a spin-off of the original 1997 Swedish version called Expedition Robinson.
Since TFI is just the early version of BFDI episodes, I will not be recapping them here. You may have to check them out for yourself if you're curious.
She's so surprised.
Episode 1, Take the Plunge, Part A. We are introduced to the 20 contestants until the speaker box named Announcer falls from the sky and invites them to a competition to win Dream Island. The first contest is whoever can stand on the balance beam longest wins. The alliances that are formed are Pin and Leafy and Bubble, Match and Pencil. Flower wears
Non-slip shoes, so hot.
but she falls anyway. Pin and Leafy end up being the last two standing, so they pick the teams. Part B.
Pin's team, you'll be called the Squishy Cherries, and Leafy's team, you are the Squashy Grapes.
The first contest is to make a boat and cross the Goiki Canal to the finish line before anyone else does. Blocky is seen eaten by a sea monster. Pin wins for her team, which makes the Squashy Grapes up for elimination. Episode 2. Barriers and Pitfalls. Pin gets a win token for helping her team win the challenge. A win token lets you void half of your votes if you're ever up for an elimination. This is the first ever cake escape, and Flower is the first one eliminated, with 4 votes for being mean, so she's sent flying away. The next challenge is an obstacle course race, and at the end of it, the first team to fill their bucket up with water wins. Pin gets Pencil along with 3 others to retrieve Blocky, or else they'll be disqualified from the challenge.
Open mouth, yeah, let him out, yeah.
Turns out, Blocky wasn't dead at all, but now the monster wraps its tongue around Pencil, trapping her. They manage to get her out later though. Yellowface makes his first ad appearance. This is the first appearance of the segment called Blocky's Funny Doings International, where Blocky creates a prank that usually kills someone in the process. The first victim is Bubble. Needle gets a win token for finishing the race first, and the Squashy Grapes win because Fiery couldn't touch the water, which means the Squishy Cherries are up for elimination. Episode 3. Are You Smarter Than a Snowball? Spongy is eliminated and is sent to the TLC. What's the TLC? It'll be revealed in episode 5. The next challenge is an exam. Match and Pencil plays Spongy Cake, which is just a patty cake style game about mocking Spongy. The Squishy Cherries were meant to win, but Blocky and Pen cheat on their test, so their team is up for elimination, for the second time in a row. Episode 4. Sweet Tooth. Needle doesn't like being called needy. Blocky is eliminated and is sent to the TLC. The next challenge is to make the best cake. The judges are Announcer, Flower, and the Magical Die of Judgment, and they rate them out of 26 points. This is the first time in the show Rocky is seen vomiting. Leafy creates a giant cake so she could share, and most of the contestants pay her to have a slice. Koine submits a simple dirt cake, and Pin ends up getting the highest score, which makes her receive her second win token, and helps her team win the first part of the challenge. So the second contest had them eat chocolate balls, which resulted in a tie, so they had a literal tiebreaker. Snowball tears his team's necktie, so the Cherries are up for elimination for the third time. Episode 5. Bridge Crossing. Needle's cake grows astronomically large and forms a star, but she pops it away. Woody is eliminated and is sent to the TLC, which is revealed to be a giant gray box called the Tiny Loser Chamber that seals shut every time. The next contest both teams must cross a bridge, but nobody was able to because all of the bridges broke and it was mostly Snowball's fault.
But don't you want to win and get Dream Island? I do. When I win, there'll be a big sign in front saying Pen Island, no spaces, all caps.
They decide to have a normal tiebreaker again, and the Grapes win. The Cherries lose for the 4th time. Episode 6, The Power of 3. The votes go down for the first time.
That's one fewer than last time. It's the first time it's ever gone down. I want to cry now. I really do.
Pin had every chance to use her win tokens, but it was too late, so she got eliminated. The next contest had the team split into 5 groups of 3 to go across 3 islands in an amazing race-style challenge. Despite being in the lead for the majority of the time, Coiny, Ice Cube, and Needle fell into last place, putting the 3 of them up for elimination. Episode 7, Puzzling Mysteries. Even though Needle uses her win token, she still got eliminated. Due to her votes still being the most out of the other 2, she's sent to the TLC, but it won't seal shut because of Spongy's large body, so no teams will be up for elimination in this episode. Yellowface makes a second ad appearance, advertising the Bubble Transformer that can turn the purchaser into a bubble, but everyone gets locked into a windowless room until they can solve the giant 9-piece jigsaw puzzle. The Squashy Grapes win, and the majority picks Fiery to join their team as their prize. Episode 8, Cycle of Life. This episode's contest is a 5v5 relay race, where each of them has to carry the one after them. Meanwhile, Blocky shows off his second prank that involves Ice Cube falling down a cliff over and over that is shown again at the end of the episode. The Squishy Cherries lose again, but instead of voting who to eliminate, the audience gets to pick an eliminated player to rejoin the game, to be in the Squashy Grapes. Episode 9, Insectophobe's Nightmare. Fun fact, the assets for the limbs have been remade and are now continuously used from this point onward. Balmy makes his debut as the first recommended character of the show. Blocky rejoins the game, but since the Squashy Grapes have twice the members as the Cherries, they get permanently split into 2, and the new team is called Another Name, courtesy of Golf Ball. This episode's contest is a 6-legged race, hence why the episode has Insect in the title, with a tightrope section near the end. The way voting works at this point is that the winning team gets to pick one of the 2 players with the most throws from the losing team to join their team, while the other player gets eliminated. The Squishy Cherries get first place, while the Squashy Grapes get last place. Episode 10, Crybaby. Yellowface makes his 3rd cameo, advertising about making money by using a box of paper slips. The Cake at Stake theme changes. The Squishy Cherries had to pick between Snowball and Teardrop to join their team, and it ends up being Snowball, which means TD is eliminated. Today's challenge involves crying the most teams in your respective team's tubs. Regardless, everyone tied, so the tiebreaker challenge was a ski race. The Squashy Grapes got 2nd place, but the other 2 teams ended up being indistinguishable, so they have to do another tiebreaker challenge that involves handstanding. Team Another Name immediately loses and the other team wins. The racer gets a win token for being able to handstand the longest. Episode 11, Lofty. Golf Ball and Rocky are at the bottom 2.
I'd say Rocky, because Golf Ball sounds like a bullet, even though it's just wrong.
And the Squishy Cherries vote to have Rocky on their team, so GB is eliminated. The challenge is, whichever team lasts the longest on the air wins. When Fiery gets eliminated, he lands next to Balmy and accidentally lit up his fuse. Leafy managed to dodge multiple nails in the air. Another Name loses again, and the Squashy Grapes get first place. Episode 12, A Leg Up in the Race. Coiny and Tennis Ball are in the bottom 2, and the Squashy Grapes pick Tennis Ball, meaning Coiny is eliminated. The contest in this episode is the race to climb to the top. The end result of the contest reveals that there are no more teams going forward, and all the contestants are now given point scores.
That's weird. Do I taste peanut butter? Okay, maybe not.
Anyway.
And whoever is at the bottom 3rd, they'll be up for elimination. Episode 13, Don't Lose Your Marbles. BFDI celebrates his 1st birthday. The Cake at Stake theme changes to fit with the new scoring method in the game. Snowball is eliminated, so he angrily hits the announcer. Announcer flies into a slingshot, but then shoots back into Snowball, sending SB to the TLC. The challenge is to find red balls around the area and bring them to the announcer. If they give him a maroon ball, however, they get a 10-point penalty. This is the first time we see Rocky barf anything other than vomit. The episode ends with Match, Ice Cube, Rocky, and Tennis Ball at the danger zone, meaning they're up for elimination. Episode 14. Half a loaf is better than none. Match is eliminated. Instead of being flung away, she is teleported to the TLC with a laser. In this episode, one eliminated contestant may rejoin the game by collecting the most loaves of bread within the time limit. Spongy wins, and since he got 38 loaves of bread, that'll be his score for the current game. Announcer gives bonus points especially to TB and the rest of the Honest cast for having a disadvantage. The current challenge is to jump over as many hurdles as possible. Ice Cube, Leafy, Eraser, and Fiery end up in the bottom 4. Episode 15. Vomit Taco. This is the first time a huge crowd of recommended characters are seen watching the elimination ceremony. David was first acknowledged because the announcer said that even though he's not a contestant, he received votes from the audience somehow. Eraser is eliminated. In this episode, the contestants have a choice on which of the 2 challenges that they would like to participate in. The goal of the barf bag challenge is whoever lasts the longest on their respective platform earns the most points, and it ends up being Pencil. Meanwhile, the goal of the taco contest is to make the best taco, and each taco is scored out of 20 by the eliminated contestants in the TLC. Leafy does the same gimmick she did back in episode 4, and Pen pays for her other half, using the box of paper slips. Unfortunately, this doesn't help him get a good score, so he along with Bubble and Rocky are up for elimination. Episode 16. Bowling, now with explosions. The intro of this episode is played with IRL puppets as an April Fool's show. Pen is eliminated. The challenge involves bowling, except for every pin they knock down, they can subtract points of the other contestants. And the twist of this episode is that everyone but Fiery are up for elimination, because he knocked down all of the pins. Leafy directly interacts with Fiery for the first time by being mad at him. The episode ends with another Yellowface ad. Episode 17. The Reveal. Leafy gives Bubble a gift. Blocky is eliminated. Again. The challenge is to pair up and successfully throw and catch frisbees 3 times, and if they don't succeed by sunset, they will get a penalty. Blocky showcases his third prank for Blocky's Funny Doings International, which involves Fiery. Tennis Ball, Ice Cube, and Leafy end up in the bottom 3, but the contestants get to vote on who to eliminate, while the viewers get to vote on a recommended character to debut in the next episode. Episode 18. Reveal Novum. Leafy survives the tiebreaker between her and Tennis Ball, which means TB is eliminated. The debut winner gets a yellow tomato, and it ends up being David. The other recommended characters get sent to the LOL, blocker of losers. The scoreboard has been downgraded and can only hold 2-digit numbers. This is the first time the announcer has ever made this kind of decision due to budget cuts. The challenge in this episode is a tournament bracket-style staring contest. Meanwhile, the eliminated contestants attempt to escape the TLC. Bubble throws away the spriggy shoes Leafy gave her because it was making it hard for her to concentrate, which makes Leafy upset. The finalist ends up being David and Pencil, which lasts overnight until eventually David blinks due to being allergic to sunrises. Even though Pencil got the most points, her score ended up resetting, putting her along with Spongy and Fiery up for elimination. Episode 19. Precision. Rocky talks again for the first time since the first episode, goes back to barfing, especially onto Pencil. Pencil is eliminated. Since they are now at the final 7, there will be no more points. The challenge in this episode is a unicycle race. The first 3 will receive immunity, and it ends up being Bubble, Rocky, and Fiery. Bubble chooses Leafy to have immunity too to prove that she's still nice. This leaves David, Spongy, and Ice Cube up for elimination. Episode 20. Gardening Hero. The announcer puts everyone in space due to budget cuts. The Cake at Stake theme changes again since the point system in the game no longer matters.
The points are gone, we are free of them now, but we look on to the moment that we see the next slice of cake, a step closer to the prize brought on by Cake at Stake.
David is eliminated. Fiery and Leafy are seen bonding together more and decide to officially become friends. The contest is to get into a spaceship, and whoever is the last one remaining gets immunity. Spongy does the bullet dodging gag, Bubble wins immunity, and gives Leafy the second immunity spot again for the same reason as last time. The cast of the TLC get to choose who to eliminate, meanwhile the audience gets to pick an eliminated contestant to rejoin the game. Match's head is dyed blue for some reason, and Penn promises to pay everyone who votes for him. Episode 21. The Glistening. The contestants fly back to Earth, and their spaceship cuts the TLC in half. Leafy lets Bubble eat yoil cake, which are made of yoil berries from Yoyland. Ice Cube is overwhelmingly voted to be eliminated. Different Cake at Stake themes play. Penn is now $1 billion in debt. Flower rejoins the game. The challenge is a simple long jump, and whoever jumps the furthest wins immunity. It's revealed that consuming yoil berries turn you into metal. Leafy wins because she uses a map to teleport herself directly to Yoyland, which is 2,763 miles away. Despite winning, Leafy gives her immunity to Spongy instead because she feels bad for him, which leaves everyone else but Spongy up for elimination. Episode 22, Don't Pierce My Flesh. Due to unfortunate events, announcer dies, so the contestants decide to use Fiery and Flower's speaker boxes. Rocky is eliminated. The speaker boxes have trouble deciding whether to have a beauty contest or an escape the volcano contest. The contestants choose the latter, but everyone escapes at the same time, so they have the beauty contest instead as a tiebreaker. Through totally unbiased opinions, Flower and Fiery win, which left Spongy, Bubble, and Leafy up for elimination. Everyone turns into metal for some reason. Episode 23, Hurtful. The Fiery announcer speaker box wants the TLC to be fixed, so he suggests that everyone dies so that enough metal would be made to fix it. The announcer recovery center finally gets fixed.
Hey guys, I'm back. Who's this? An imposter?
And more speaker boxes show up. The votes went down for a second time, and the announcer says that if it goes down again, he'll cancel the show.
Now we do.
Oh no! Speaker just killed the cheese orb!
Spongy is eliminated, again. For the last contest of BFDI before the finals, it is a compilation of every previous challenge in order of episodes they appear in, and the winner gets immunity. Leafy and Bubble start arguing about their complicated friendship, but in the end, Bubble wins. Episode 24, Insectophobe's Nightmare 2. Fiery and Leafy get on a Ferris wheel that he made with a fun special part, which reveals to be a lava fall, and it ends up killing Leafy. When Fiery asked the announcer if they could recover Leafy, he said that they couldn't because they had to sell the recovery centers due to budget cuts. Blocky showcases his fourth prank that involves killing the announcer. Yellowface ads appear, one of them being about non-slip shoes, so ha!
Purple guy!
We cut back to the show and it's revealed that the votes decreased again, so the show is cancelled. This upsets Flower, so she throws these sticky green orbs onto announcer, and it turns out they were bug eggs. Everyone attempts to run away from the bugs as they eat everything in their path. Fiery dies in an attempt to kill the bugs with his flame, and the announcer confesses that the bugs were his creation. So he kills Bubble and magically deletes all of the bugs. He notices David is the only survivor, so he attempts to continue the show with David clones. The contestants come back because they faked their death somehow, and Flower is revealed to be the first and last person eliminated. A compilation of all of the eliminations are shown. Flower attempts to use a mirror to protect herself from getting eliminated.
Why is there a bush here?
But of course she still gets sent to the TLC. The viewer gets to vote on the winner for BFDI. Episode 25, Return of the Hang Glider. Eraser reveals that if you put the first spoken word of the first episode, the second spoken word of the second episode, all the way onto the 25th episode together, you will get a secret message. I would play the clip, but I suggest figuring that out yourself. Announcer releases the eliminated contestants, and Flower bites a chunk off of the announcer's head off.
Was that the bite of 87?
The grand cake is every cake from all the episodes fused together. Due to budget cuts, the winner of Battle for Dream Island is immediately revealed to be Fiery. Announcer lets Fiery choose which people he can let onto the island. He lets everyone in except for Leafy because of her negative reaction towards his Ferris wheel. Leafy gets upset, so she calls the announcer and pays him to give Dream Island to her instead. When everyone behind the gate finds out about it, they all freak out. Meanwhile, a UFO takes TV, Match, Snowball, and Woody away. It is later revealed to be an announcer transportation device. Some of the cast start being upset at Flower for her attitude, so she starts destroying recovery centers, while the rest of the cast come out to question Leafy. Golfball finds out that Leafy stole Dream Island. In the meantime, Flower burns all of the recovery centers and kills Bubble first, and then gets herself killed by the ATD landing on top of her. Woody also died off screen because of his fear of the color gray. The speaker boxes come out and tell announcer that they should all go home, and as the announcer was about to retaliate, the speaker boxes say that they can always return later. In the end, Fiery wants to apologize to Leafy, and when everyone decides to kill her, he swoops in with a hang glider to save her. He tells her that he's sorry, and he cares more about her than Dream Island, as they both fly off into the horizon. Before we continue to BFDIA, let's take a quick break and allow me to share some fun facts with you. BFDI won the award for Outstanding Web Series in the 2021 Cartoon Crave Awards. It was also voted the second most favorite show in general. Yoil Cake won the Battle of the Fantasy Foods 2016 contest, and the top 4 foods would become real at the New York Comic Con of that year. It is revealed by Michael that the significance of the number 2763 refers to the number of offspring in each Wang family generation.
What are you doing? Get your hands off of me, you jerk!
Leafy, Leafy! Leafy, I'm sorry for what I did. I realized that what I wanted most wasn't Dream Island. It's you, your friendship.
We all remember that the last thing we saw Fiery tell Leafy was that he valued her more than Dream Island as they flew away, But unfortunately, he starts losing control of the hang glider and they both crash into the ground. Golf Ball and everyone else quickly found her and start chasing her. As Leafy runs away, Fiery stands there and realizes that they were only after her, so he decided to just give up and try to distance himself from her. His reasoning for this was because even though he did still care about her, she still hurt his feelings and didn't really apologize. Meanwhile, Announcer still wanted BFDI to continue. With the help of the money Leafy gave him, he returns back to Earth and starts to produce the second season without anyone noticing him. But alas, the season is gonna end prematurely because he didn't have any money left for the show to continue. The real reason, however, was because Michael's AdSense account got terminated in this time. It got reinstated later though. Episode 1. Yeah, who? I wanna know. We cut back to see Leafy being chased into the evil forest, and while crossing the evil canyon, she gets smacked by her map and remembers she could escape by teleporting herself to Yoyo-land. After she disappears, Pin catches the map and tears it apart, trapping Leafy. Later, we see the results of who gets to join the second season. Overall, we keep a few of the familiar faces and see interesting new ones. The current contestants then receive a piece of paper that lists all of the BFDI game rules. The characters that didn't make it get sent to the TLC. Everyone starts deciding to pick the teams, and after some bickering, Donut, Coiny, and Pin are on their own team, while the rest are on their own larger team. They spin the wheel to decide the first contest, which is tug of war. They immediately lose and are put up for elimination. The voting system works differently because the viewers get to vote by liking and disliking the eliminated contestants' respective videos in the description. In the end, we see Leafy stuck in Yoyo-land. Episode 2. Get Digging. Coiny tries to come up with a team name and sees he can roll like a wheel. Pin is currently sweating ooze due to nervousness, and Donut has a hole. He decides to call the team
We'll lose a whole bunch!
aka Whoa Bunch. Coiny receives the most likes and gets seeds, while Donut is eliminated. Coiny notices that their team is small, so they force Teardrop to switch to their team. The next contest is to make Yoyo stew. Team No Name decides to get Puffball along with 5 others to fly to Yoyo-land to get some Yoyo berries. Golf Ball assigns herself as team manager and bosses everyone around. On the other team, they discover that Coiny's prize are Yoyo seeds, so they plant them on the ground and immediately sprouts into a Yoyo berry bush. Meanwhile in the sky, Gelatin pushes Spongy, Ice Cube, and Book off due to the lack of space on Puffball. The 3 land in the evil forest and get chased by evil Leafy, who probably teleported out of the TLC. It is revealed that there are sharp spikes at the bottom of the evil canyon.
That's a relief. Now that the bridge is broken, evil Leafy can't cross. We should be safe!
Book and Ice Cube manage to escape, but Spongy collapses and evil Leafy catches him. At this point, Whoa Bunch is already done with their Yoyo stew. After a long flying sequence, Puffball, Gelatin, and Needle arrive at Yoyo-land and find the real Leafy, who has turned into metal from eating Yoyo berries. Leafy mentions the word needy, which of course upsets Needle, but before she could say anything else, Leafy starts throwing knives at her and Gelatin, chasing them away. They try to fight back by spitting acid spitballs, but Leafy continues to attack. Puffball quickly picks up Needle and Gelatin and fly away. Match and Pencil and Ruby form an alliance, but when Match and Pencil mention about bringing Bubble back, Ruby gets agitated and says it's not worth it. Purple arrives and they complete the stew. Unfortunately to TV, he doesn't like how overcomplicated it is, so Team No Name is up for elimination. Episode 3, Insectophobes Nightmares 3. Puffball gets the most likes and gets to spin the wheel. Her prize is her own speaker box. Dora is eliminated. Coiny forces Needle to join Whoa Bunch. Gelatin eats one of Fry's fries. The challenge in this episode is to kill all of the fireproof bugs in their respective glass boxes. Match, Pencil, and Ruby excuse themselves from the challenge to discuss about their alliance. Ruby says that she got upset because she was afraid she'll be expelled if they bring Bubble back. Match reassures her. Bubble comes back and says that it's a bad idea because according to a book she read, an alliance with 4 more members will most likely split up. Pencil tell her that that's nonsense because the book was written by Golf Ball. Ice Cube and Book approach them and ask if they can join too, but Pencil says that they can just be alternates instead. Nickel suggests that they should ignite Bomby to kill all the bugs, which of course causes an explosion, and Puffball's speaker box gives Team No Name the win. At the end, we see Spongy is up and fine and Evil Leafy comes out of him. Gelatin appears and stops Evil Leafy by injecting her with freeze juice, the beginning of the freeze juice running gag. Episode 4, Ziki Buki Doog. Book is seen at the Type of Eiffel Tower with TB, Fiery, and Gelatin, and she starts freezing them because they kept telling her she's well read. Puffball announces that it's time for Cake a Steak, and tries to get Nickel to get them down for her. Pin offers her help by shaking the tower, making the frozen contestants fall. Fiery and Gelatin were caught by Match and Pencil, but TB shatters to the ground. Book gets flung away and flies into what happens to be Golf Ball's underground factory and lands into a giant vat of dream sauce. Pin continues to shake the tower around, killing Ruby and other recommended characters in the process. Teardrop gets the most likes, but she can't spin the wheel because she's dead, so Gelatin lets Nickel use his anti-poison syringe to resurrect TD. Side effects may include cannibalism. Spongy died off-screen because Fries got anti-poison earlier too, so TD spins the wheel and gets the choice to pick immunity or a hand-powered recovery center, and TD uses her index finger laser beam to choose the latter because Pin said everyone loved her. Just as Gelatin is saving Match from being destroyed, the new recovery center drops from the sky, and the cast recovers all the other dead contestants including Bubble. Ruby tries to recover Flower, but she gets struck with freeze juice, and Ruby gets scolded for recovering her. Coiny tries to recover Book but is surprised that she's still alive somewhere. Cake and Steak continues, and by a shocking twist, Teardrop is also eliminated. Coiny decides that they should recruit 2 new members for their team, them being Bommy and Yellowface. As they are deciding for the next contest, they realize that the thing they're battling for, Dream Island, doesn't even exist anymore. So by convenience, their next contest is to build Dream Island. Team No Name heads to Golf Ball's factory, but Puffball's speaker box stops Bubble because she's not a contestant, while the other team decides that their Dream Island would be farm-themed. Team No Name finishes their spectacular Dream Island and Coney notices it, so he sends Bommy to destroy it and everyone else. Flower melts and returns back to normal after a while. The contest finishes, and even though Puffball's speaker box hates farms, Woe Bunch wins because the other team doesn't have anything else to showcase. The ending shows Flower alive and annoying Gelatin, so he freezes her and walks away. Evil Leafy appears and captures her. Episode 5A, Get in the Van. This episode marks BFDI's 3rd birthday. Pin tries to bond with Bubble by talking about how much they hate Leafy, and speaking of Leafy, she arrives after walking all the way from Yoyoland. This freaks Pin and Bubble out, so they try to freeze her with freeze juice, but they can't freeze her because she's made of metal. Gelatin is revealed to have his own steakhouse. Bubble helps Leafy recover all of Team No Name. Pin attempts to assassinate Leafy with a knife, but it misses, hitting Puffball's speaker box instead.
It's time for Cake and Steak!
Later, we see Pin and Bubble swinging at the swings, but Bubble leaves suddenly. Book and Ice Cube show up, and Pin tries to get them to swing with her, but Book said that they're going to Match's dance party. Pin gets upset and claims that she's not letting Ice Cube do what she wants to do, but Ice Cube said that she wanted to go to the dance too. So they head to the Clubhouse of Awesomeness, but they get kicked out because they're only alternates and they're only allowed if any of the 4 leave. Leafy tries to approach Fiery, but Fiery pretends to forget who she is, and Leafy dies by being squashed by a mallet. It's time for Cake and Steak, but Puffball's speaker box is dead, and Puffball gets mad at Pin. Luckily, Fiery brought his own speaker box so that the ceremony may continue. The prize is Donut's corpse, chopped into pieces. He's been recovered and sent to the TLC. Puffball wins again, and her prize was that she could choose any of the contestants to lose their limbs. She reluctantly chooses Pin for what she did earlier. Match gets the most dislikes, but before being sent to the TLC, Pencil ties her down to the elimination area so that she doesn't get sent away, and it works. Woe Bunch gets Nickel and Spongy to join their team, and this upsets Golf Ball, so she orders everyone to promise to stay on her team. Pencil refuses to promise, along with all of her other alliance members, so they disband from Team No Name. They decide to make their own team. Initially, Book suggests their team name should be Team Freedom, but Pencil thinks it sounds like Free Dump, so instead, she decides that their team name will be
Freeze Snare!
Yeah!
The challenge in this episode is to reach the summit of Yoy Mountain, which is 2,763 miles away, and the last team to do so will be up for elimination. All the teams spring into action. Pencil tells Freesmart to get into their van and bring the HBRC with them. Golfball tells Team No Name to get on top of Puffball, and Wobach simply walk because they have no other mode of transportation. Book smacks Match because they passed by a library. Gelatin complains about the lack of room on Puffball again, and before Golfball could stop him, she along with Tennis Ball and Rocky are pushed off by Gelatin, and they land in the evil forest, and then get chased by Evil Leafy. Fries gets upset at Gelatin and tells Puffball to turn around to retrieve them. Meanwhile, the Free Smart van passes by a snowy area, and Ruby picks up the snow and plays with it inside. Pencil scolds her because snow mixing with gasoline is bad. They enter the evil forest and try to jump over the evil canyon. We then see Tennis Ball, Golf Ball, and Rocky emerge from the other side. TB tries to tell GB about quickly building a trebuchet to cross the canyon, but the Free Smart van crashes into the 3 while Evil Leafy consumes all of them. Episode 5B. This episode is special because it is not an episode. It was a flash game. Unfortunately, Flash shut down back in 2020, so we're gonna have to use pre-recorded gameplay to recap over. Book wakes up and discovers that she, along with her alliance and GB and TB and Rocky, are all inside of Evil Leafy, so she tries to look for her team. After going through obstacles, she finds Match and rescues her, and they both talk about what happened. They continue onward and find the recovery center split in half. They find a wooden house, and the new character introduces himself as Lego Brick. He says that he, along with other recommended characters, lived in this house, and he doesn't believe it when Book said that they're all inside of Evil Leafy. There was a puzzle where they had to sacrifice a person to proceed, so they trap Lego Brick to go forward. Later on, Lego Brick comes back and enacts his revenge onto Match and Book by dropping them into a dungeon. They manage to escape and find Ice Cube. They meet more recommended characters like Waffle and Toon. Waffle tells them that Lego Brick isn't evil, he's just afraid of death. Sadly, the game wasn't completed, but through modding the game files, the rest of Free Smart become accessible to the player. Episode 5C, No More Snow. Fries wakes up to Gelatin and Fiery already gone because they tied their legs together and fell off of Puffball while he was asleep. Puffball assumes that they both got eaten by Evil Leafy. After the events of 5B, all of Free Smart reached Evil Leafy's head. Book tries to tell the team that GB, TB, and Rocky aren't with them, but she gets dismissed by Pencil and Match. After pressing the buttons, only Ruby and Book make it out. They try to sneak away, but Evil Leafy chases after them. Puffball and Fries follows them too. The scene cuts to Woe Bunch entering the forest, but Pin gets stuck on the ground as a tree falls onto her and she dies. The scene cuts back to Ruby and Book climbing up a tree and cutting the conveniently placed rope to drop a metal weight onto Evil Leafy, killing her and Puffball and Fries. Ruby tells Book that they can recover Free Smart, but Book reminds her that the HPRC was still inside of Evil Leafy, so she can't bring them back. There's a gag where Ruby dies of sadness in this part. Woe Bunch finally enters the forest, but they didn't notice the evil canyon, so as they were walking, they fell down and sacrificed Spongy to safely land on him. They get Needle to slap them out of the canyon, but when it comes to getting Spongy and Needle out, they decide to kill them and recover them later when they get to the HPRC. But they soon realize that it got crushed, so now there's no way to recover the dead contestants. The fiery speaker box shows up and gives them the hand-powered recovery center creator, aka the HPRCC. But they have to crank the machine as long as they have to craft the original HPRC. Match and Ice Cube come back, but Match kills Ice Cube to put out the fire on her head. Episode 5D. Match relaxes for the majority of the time while everyone else continued to crank for 2.5 months until the HPRC was finally created. The HPRCC disappears without a trace, and Match, Book, and Ruby recover the rest of Free Smart first before walking away. Ruby asks Pencil if she's upset that they lost the Free Smart van, but Pencil reveals that they can still get ahead by getting in the new Free Smart Super Van. Meanwhile, Yellowface recovers the rest of Woe Bunch. Pin comes up with the idea of recovering Puffball and threatening her to get them to Yoyoland quicker. Puffball refuses and recovers Gelatin so he could fend off Woe Bunch for her. After a while, the rest of Team No Name is recovered, and they leave Woe Bunch behind. After driving through the desert for a while, they press a button that pulls out a giant magnet to take the HPRC again, and puts it in their van. Ruby pulls out their mini fridge and starts snowball fighting with everyone else in the van. Pencil reminds Ruby how this is bad, but there is so much chaos going on no one heard her. Also Bubble dies. Yellowface finally thaws and walks ahead but gets stuck in glue due to the snow and gasoline mixture from the super van. Pencil tells Free Smart to hold their breath because they'll be driving through the Goiki Canal, even though it is 500 miles wide, so they continue through a long cycle of dying and recovering each other during the underwater trip. Episode 5E, The Long Lost Yoil City. Pin's body thaws and she gets up to try to recover her teammates, but discovers that the HPRC is gone. Needle also gets up later, and Pin wonders what'll happen if they put Coiny and Nickel together. The result is a big money explosion. When the rest of Woe Bunch is unfreezed, Coiny questions why they have a large money bag with them, and Pin brushes it aside, then questions why Nickel, Needle, and Coiny were able to freeze despite being metal, while Leafy couldn't be frozen. Coiny tells her that it's because she was made of Yoil metal, which can't freeze. Meanwhile, Team No Name is flying through Davidland, and Fiery and Gelatin try to tie their legs together again. Free Smart is the first team to reach Yoyland, and Bubble and Ruby eat the berries that turn them into metal. They finally arrive at the abandoned Yoil City, and Match smacks Book because they passed by a matchstick factory. They attempt to carry the HPRC with them, but it's glued to the ground because of the snow and gasoline mix from earlier. As they're heading up the mountain, Pencil gets wrapped by a monster's tongue again, and Ruby panics because she sees Team No Name catching up. They decide that they'll kill her and recover her again afterward.
Stop, Ruby! Yeah! Kill me quick! Yeah! So we can win the contest!
Yeah!
Woe Bunch approaches Yellowface, who's stuck to the ground, so they also plan to do the kill recover thing. As Free Smart continues up the mountain, Bubble notices that Team No Name is ahead, so Pencil freezes all of them, sending them back down the mountain. Freeze Smart makes it to the top of Yoy Mountain, leaving Team No Name in second, but it turns out it wasn't the actual summit, and they still have a long way to go, so Golf Ball orders her team to get on Puffball again to fly upward, but Pencil snatches Rocky and kicks him into the monster's mouth for barfing on her 2 years ago. Puffball and Fries have to fly back down to recover Rocky while Freeze Smart races ahead to the top and finally wins. The fiery speaker box comes in but then notices that Match isn't in the TLC, so he sends her away. Wobunch needs to catch up quickly, so Quinny throws a stick and it conveniently hits the button on the Freeze Smart super band that activates the large magnet. It attracts Needle, so Wobunch holds on to her. After many recovery attempts, Puffball and Fries go back to the rest of Team No Name and fly up to the summit, but as they approach it, Puffball stops to think back at the times her team was up for elimination, and how she would always get prizes for getting the most likes. Golf Ball begs Puffball to go forward, but instead, Puffball shrinks herself down, causing all of her teammates to fall off one by one. Meanwhile, Wobunch finally reaches the summit and gets second place. Bubble is then seen tossed away in the background. Episode 6. Since the episode never fully finished, the information that I'll be referring to is from the BFDI fandom wiki. According to the wiki page, instead of Puffball getting the most likes, she got the most dislikes and would be eliminated. Fiery would be the one to win the prize in this episode. What remains of BFDIA 6 can be considered non-canon to some viewers, but what we can confirm is that the contestants decide to just stay in New York City because of convenience. Post BFDIA 5E and pre-IDFB 1. Pencil notices the announcer but then quickly brushes it off when he pretends to be a tree. Bubble doesn't end up in the TLC, and she, along with Ruby, turn back to normal. Team No Name is recovered after being eaten, along with Woody and the evil Leafy somehow. Fiery recovers Leafy. Every character that escaped the TLC throughout BFDIA gets sent back, and the box is placed on the outskirts of Yoyoland. An Algebraian named 4 loved the series so much he compiled the first 2 seasons together and created the BFDI. Fiery speaker box vanished. Since BFDIA got cancelled, there was no point in having teams, so everyone became acquaintances with each other. Rocky gets his barfing back. Leafy turns into Yoil Metal again. Most of Fries' fries either got rotten, got burned by Fiery, or eaten by gelatin. Tennis Ball invents Growtatoes, which are potatoes or potato-like vegetables that are able to grow in low sunlight. Flower manages to get into Yoil City. Pin's color was extracted and turned into her new limbs thanks to Golf Ball. Everybody decided to put Fiery in a cage and hang him from the Yoil Needy, possibly for recovering Leafy. Freeze Smart decided to record video diaries for the next 3 years, but Ruby never took the lens cap off. Before we finally get into IDFB, I still want to share a few fun facts about BFDIA in general. Just like in Season 1, they had a coincidental message in every episode that followed the same pattern, but the message only read,
Don't chatter that thing again, because
so that they wouldn't have to do this kind of messaging again for future seasons. When the contestants chanted, it later gets sampled in the song Music of 4's 3D Hand, which plays when 4 first appears in BFB. BFDIA 5B was originally going to be animated. The only scene that exists is solely in audio form. From what I can imagine, it's just Freeze Smart, GB, TB, and Rocky being inside of Evil Leafy.
here. Max, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the TLC. Whatevs. Just tell me how to escape, okay? I will not help a cheater.
IDFB 1, welcome back. Ruby introduces the episode as if it's already been 1,127 episodes prior to this one, and she states that they'll be eating the gumdrops they've collected over the years. Pencil continues the intro before discovering that there's been a lens cap stuck over the camera the entire time, and she gets upset. Ruby reveals who would have gotten eliminated in BFDIA 6, and Pencil tries to grab the voting results from her, but she ends up hanging by the ledge of the tower. Bubble tries to grab her, but she pops, and Pencil starts falling. Ruby crashes to the ground and dies, but Book saves Pencil just in time. Woody is seen on fire and Ice Cube does the selfless act of extinguishing him using her own body. Pencil and Book decide to go to the HBIC to recover the Alliance. Meanwhile, Pin notices that Fries is planning the Grotatoes TB invented so that he could create more fries for himself.
Oh, tennis ball.
Speaking of TB, we then see him and GB approach the worn-down science museum, but Needle tries to stop them from going in because it had something to do with FreeSmart. GB ignores her and they enter the building. TB excitedly spots a wall teleporter and takes it. As GB walks further into the museum, she's struck with a flashback where she is hiding from a large shadow figure calling her Bozo. This freaks her out and TB acknowledges that this is the second time it's happened. GB tells TB that they need to get out ASAP. TB shows off the wall teleporter to Coney and the others. The wall teleporter can teleport anybody through a wall up to 6 inches in width. This gives the cast the opportunity to teleport anyone out of the TLC. But then they realize they're within the LOL, which adds an additional 5 inches. TB adds that there's an ultra power mode, but it takes weeks to power up for its use. So everyone but Fries goes up to the LOL, and this would be where the audience gets to vote on who gets to come out of the LOL first. The end clip shows Coiny coming back to Fries with a pot of boiling frying oil so that they could both do some deep fried breaths. This is a joke to the title of the season. Metal Leafy is seen behind a yoyoberry bush, holding a knife. She's about to throw it, but then she hears Coiny and Fries screaming in pain as they're taking their deep fried breaths. Leafy decides to not intervene and hides back in the bush. IDFB, otherwise known as Island Dream for Battle, or would be a season that's the opposite of BFDI. As you can tell near the end, instead of taking someone out of the show, viewers got to choose someone to put into the show, and there was no competition, so the season was more story/character focused. So far, only one episode has been released, and there's been no news about the next episode ever since. And there you have it. I have spared you all nearly 5 hours and 30 minutes of content. All of BFDI, including BFDIA and IDFB, packed into one singular video. This is gonna be a long recording, isn't it? I noticed a lot of people would skip the first 3 seasons and end up being confused when they start watching BFB, so I hope this video helped you finally understand how big BFDI is. I want to end this video by saying thank you for making it this far. Go watch BFB, subscribe to Jack and Jellify, and validate my hard work by subscribing to me. Let me know what you think about this recap by commenting below. Maybe suggest future ideas, okay? Okay. I'm gonna go die now. Bye.
Now, crank that soldier boy.
Soldier boy tough.